sometimes there are movies like Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers that go directly to streaming, and you watch them and you say, that was so good. It's a shame it didn't go to theaters. DC League of Super Pets is the opposite way. It's a movie where after I saw it, I said to myself, there was really no reason for this to go to theaters. This really should have just gone directly to HBO Max. It would have been perfectly fine as a streaming movie. Because really, this just feels like a very long TV show pilot. Like the executives at Warner Brothers said, we need more family content on HBO Max. Let's make a movie about superpowered animals and loosely tied to characters from the Justice League. And if it does well with the kid audience, we'll make it into a show. I honestly would not be surprised if in a year or two they announce that they're spinning this off into a TV show for HBO Max, because that's really the only justification for this existing. The movie's not painful, and I can't say I wasn't entertained, but plot-wise, it's pretty average. It's nothing you haven't seen in other talking animal movies. It's got elements of Bolt, Underdog, Secret Life of Pets, but it doesn't really do anything new with the idea. But I will say, even though the plot is not that special, there are quite a few jokes that were pretty funny. This movie was actually a lot funnier than I was expecting. From the trailers, I was like, this is going to be kind of average. And yeah, plot-wise, it was average. But the trailers didn't really show the best jokes from the movie. The trailers all showed kind of like the lower brow humor, which we'll get to in a minute. But you'll definitely get a lot more out of this movie if you're a diehard DC fan, because a lot of the jokes he references are pretty deep cut. Now, it's not as smart as the Lego Batman movie or even the Teen Titans Go movie, but the effort was there. Honestly, even though Keanu Reeves is only in this movie for like 15 minutes, his performance as Batman steals the show. The material they gave him to work with was super clever, and I'm not going to give any of the jokes away, but they were the hardest that I was laughing at this movie. He was hilarious as Batman. As for the other performances, they're not terrible, but there weren't any where I thought, yes, only this actor or actress could have said this line and had it work. Honestly, everyone else in the movie is pretty interchangeable. They don't really, like, they don't give bad performances, but there wasn't anything where I'm like, yes, only The Rock could have said this and made it funny. Only Kevin Hart could have said this and made it funny. Like, nah, you could have interchanged it with, honestly, anybody, and it still would have worked just because the script just wasn't as strong. But they did the best they could with what they had. However, I did enjoy Kate McKinnon as the villain pet. She was delightfully comic booky. She really had a lot of fun with it. She was entertaining. The rules of this movie, though, they're kind of inconsistent. Because, like, Superman can't understand his dog when his dog speaks to him. All he hears is barks. And yet, it's implied kind of at the end of the movie that the other Justice League members can understand their pets. It's kind of implied that Batman can understand his dog. I don't know. But yet Superman can't understand his. I don't know. It seems kind of inconsistent. And some of the pets they pair them with don't really make much sense. Like Superman and Batman having dogs, okay, I can buy into that. Flash having a turtle, that's pretty funny. But like Wonder Woman having a pig and Green Lantern having a squirrel, that doesn't really make any sense. Or maybe it does make sense if you're like deep into the lore of the comic books. But for me, I was like, that doesn't. I don't get the connection here. So if there's a connection, let me know. But I don't understand why some of these animals were paired with who they were paired with. And, you know, as smart as some of the jokes were, there were other jokes that were kind of lowbrow. Of course, there's, all the potty jokes that are in all the trailers and commercials. And there was also this running joke of one of the characters having a lot of her dialogue bleeped out. Like, they're, like the turtle, there were a couple times where they bleeped her dialogue out because it was implied she was cursing. And there was no reason for that. Like, it did not need to be as lowbrow as it was. It would have been perfectly fine without the lowbrow humor. Now, animal lovers and kids, they'll appreciate it, but it's not the strongest script they could have come up with. It passed the time, but I would say wait for HBO Max. I would honestly say that League of Super Pets gets a B-, an 8 out of 10, and a 3.5 out of 5 stars.